The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your successes. I love creating, and I think that as women, you're not often given authorship, yet women represent 85% of people making purchases in homes across all categories.
For those who are not in the Hollywood world, what is wrong with her taking over the film?
I've never seen it before in my 30-plus year career in Hollywood. And an executive producer is below a producer in the film world.
It is important in times like these to have a distraction. And that's why I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Thank you for providing us with that distraction. I'm grateful. I think we're all grateful, and I think we're good.
And an executive producer is below a producer in the film world. An executive producer signed up to be an executive producer, and that's it. As the time progressed in this film, she decided that she wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors. She wanted to be part of that team.
Blake Lively was once the golden girl of Hollywood, flawless on the red carpet, adored across social media, and almost never caught slipping up in public. But jaws dropped when she suddenly boarded a private jet under circumstances that set off alarm bells. In her wake, a firestorm of accusations, leaked text messages, and one very determined director, Justin Baldoni, who refused to let the mystery die. For weeks, the entertainment world has been in a frenzy. Was Blake escaping the fallout of manipulative schemes? Did she finally crack under the relentless pressure? Or was this a calculated move to dodge a scandal spiraling completely out of control? This drama exploded at lightning speed, fueled by whispers of deception, bizarre mentions of so-called dragons, and jaw-dropping revelations hitting one after another. No one saw it coming. An actress with such an untouchable image vanishing just as damning evidence threatened to shatter the walls she'd built. Hollywood thrives on twists and turns, but rarely does a story unravel this fast, leaving fans, insiders, and even her own co-stars scrambling to piece together the wreckage. Before anyone even sensed trouble brewing, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni looked like the ultimate creative duo. Justin, a filmmaker known for crafting deeply emotional stories with mass appeal, was determined to bring a powerful novel to life. And Blake, with her undeniable charm and layered performances, she seemed like the perfect lead to make his vision soar. Early on, everything appeared picture perfect. She raved about how meaningful the project was, while he couldn't stop gushing about her talent and razor-sharp instincts. The chemistry seemed undeniable. On set, Blake was deeply engaged. She asked insightful questions during table reads, suggested subtle tweaks to enrich emotional moments, and even pitched ways to elevate her character's arc. Justin, for his part, welcomed collaboration. He restructured entire scenes if it meant drawing out a more authentic performance. On paper, they were an actor-director dream team. That's why the first whispers of tension sounded almost laughable. How could two professionals, both known for their warmth and adaptability, possibly end up at odds? But Hollywood thrives on high stakes, and where big visions clash, egos aren't far behind. Crew members started picking up on small cracks, an awkward exchange when Justin tried to direct a scene, and Blake shot back with a firm, clipped suggestion of her own. A fleeting glare she gave him whenever someone praised his script. A few muttered comments that didn't seem like much, until they suddenly did. At first, the signs were subtle, small moments that on their own meant nothing, but together, they painted a different picture, and by the time real cracks began to show, the damage was already done. What started as quiet speculation took a sharp turn when entertainment outlets began churning out stories about Blake Lively's alleged on-set behavior. Overnight, the tabloids went into overdrive, slapping her with labels like demanding and distant, a stark contrast to the warm, down-to-earth image she had carefully cultivated for years. The reaction was immediate. Fans were torn. Some refused to believe a word of it, defending her fiercely. Others, however, muttered that bad press doesn't come from nowhere. Then, just as the headlines reached a fever pitch, Blake struck back. She fired off accusations that Justin was the one behind the smear campaign, using strategic leaks to pressure her into creative choices she flat out rejected. According to her, he was manipulating the narrative, twisting public perception to maintain a firm grip over the production. And the timing, absolutely explosive. Her comments dropped just as social media was consumed with debates over power imbalances in Hollywood. Suddenly, sympathy shifted in her favor. People started questioning whether this was about her at all, or if it was yet another case of a male director wielding his influence to silence a female lead. For a brief moment, it seemed like Blake had the upper hand. But in Hollywood, the tide can turn in an instant. Blake's accusations fit a familiar Hollywood narrative. At first glance, the headlines made it easy to believe Justin Baldoni was just another controlling director, one who couldn't handle a strong female lead pushing back. But then, Justin flipped the script in a way no one saw coming. He didn't just deny the claims, he dropped what he called the receipts. Normally, behind-the-scenes conflicts either stay buried or trickle out as vague creative differences. But Justin, he went nuclear. In a move that sent shockwaves through the industry, he released a trove of unedited text messages, no selective cropping, no strategic omissions. These logs stretched from the project's earliest stages all the way to the final weeks of filming. And what they revealed? It was not the cold, dismissive figure Blake had described. Message after message showed a director who actively sought her opinion on costumes, set design, even script adjustments. He apologized whenever things got hectic, rearranged shooting schedules to accommodate her, and repeatedly assured her that her voice mattered. But the real bombshell? A pattern of cryptic references from Blake's side, phrases like "my circle" and "dragons," sprinkled throughout her texts and private group chats. Fans and insiders pounced on one theory. Was she talking about her husband, Ryan Reynolds? By then, Ryan was an undeniable Hollywood powerhouse, wielding major influence both on-screen and behind the scenes. And some messages hinted at something even bigger. There were subtle implications that Blake could unleash these so-called dragons if Justin didn't align with her vision. It sounded dramatic, almost cinematic, but it also raised a chilling question. Was she subtly warning him that she had the power to overshadow the film or even manipulate the press against him? The public's reaction flipped almost overnight. Fans who had fiercely defended Blake now found themselves second-guessing everything. Had she deliberately twisted the media narrative to paint herself as the victim? Had she orchestrated a smear campaign to control the story? Others weren't convinced. They argued that text messages could be cherry-picked, that context still mattered. Maybe Justin had only released the most flattering exchanges. Maybe there was more to come. And just as opinions swung wildly back and forth, boom, Hollywood was hit with another shocker. Blake's attorney abruptly quit. In high-profile scandals like this, powerhouse lawyers usually work behind the scenes, carefully crafting statements, shaping public perception, and making messy disputes disappear. But stepping away entirely, and with a cryptic statement that their client's version of events didn't align with the documented facts, that was unheard of. The legal world buzzed with theories. Had the lawyer stumbled upon contradictory evidence that blew holes in Blake's claims? Was there an internal dispute over strategy? A conflict of interest? Whatever the reason, the message was clear. Even Blake's own legal counsel wanted nothing to do with the chaos spiraling around her. Meanwhile, on Justin's side, he stayed surprisingly calm. No gloating, no told you so energy. Instead, he kept a measured, almost regretful tone, emphasizing how heartbreaking it was to see a creative partnership collapse so publicly. He presented the text logs not as a power move, but as a last resort to protect himself after repeated accusations of being controlling or even misogynistic. That quiet, sincere approach, it won him even more public support. Then came the moment that still has the industry talking. Blake Lively vanished. She canceled press appearances for an entirely separate project, wiped her calendar clean, and, according to sources, jetted off on a private plane with only a handful of close associates. No press release, no carefully worded statement, just silence. Paparazzi scrambled to track her down, swarming airports across the globe, but sightings were rare. One lounge employee claimed she seemed tense, hidden behind dark sunglasses, avoiding even the smallest wave or smile. The fallout from her sudden departure? It completely eclipsed the actual movie. Instead of conversations about the film's potential, all anyone could talk about was Blake's great escape.